Hello, trading has closed on March 3rd, 2022. We always begin with our disclaimer, then we go over our calls, make some predictions. We have a really special treat. We have an explanation from one of the top technical analysts in the country, David. And I'm going to post a link to it, but I've never posted a link to it before. And my son usually helps me, but he won't be back in his house for hours. So if I can't do it, give it a few hours and I'll post the link. He'll help me. If I can do it, I'll post this very soon. If not, you can always access it here. This is my opinion on what could happen tomorrow, March the 4th. Just remember, it's an opinion. Opinions can be wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. And also, I don't predict what's going to happen overnight. And futures are down pretty heavily as I record this. Okay, what do we say? We look for the pattern with the early high. This is a pattern with the early high. Tomorrow's pattern should have the early low. We said bulls need to gap and promptly overtake the high, or we should see lower prices. Well, they did gap, they did overtake the high, so no call for lower prices, but we got the lower prices anyway. This video will explain what happened, and it's really an important piece of technical analysis I think everybody should watch. Let's go over today's patterns. Oh, I should point out this was a big down day, and the close, the dotted line, was over all these lows. So right now, in spite of a weak day, in spite of the reversal from here, we have a pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Doesn't have to stay that way, but as long as that's the pattern, and as long as you've got just Fibonacci retraces, this is a 50% retrace of the recent move up. No matter how bad it looks, no matter how low futures are, it's not negative yet. We have to see where we open tomorrow. During the day, MEJT said this drop was false, said this rally was false. They've already retraced. These yellow lines are resistance areas. Resistance has held. Notice that not only couldn't we undercut prior day's lows at the close, we couldn't even undercut this low. Doesn't mean it has to stay that way. But for now, at least, this hasn't accomplished anything. Well, we gapped over this line. Doesn't mean you have to go up. And the next time you go past the line, you don't have to gap. That rule just applies to the first time through. So let's see if we can count what's happened on this last move. We had this impulse here, which you can count as 5 waves. We have an ABC. C doesn't have to end here. It's one of the places, though. I mean, if that's A and that's 100%, 61.8% is right there. So if somehow the market can recover from this collapse overnight, that's a candidate for a low. Obviously, it's not the only candidate, but if it holds, which certainly isn't assured, we could have a good rally. Now we also had an ultimate target, 43.2369. We are way under that in futures. But if we don't see this in regular trading hours, it still remains a target. Friday's pattern has the early low. We could still gap up. Typically it's a rally day with a final hour high. If it's weak, more weakness should follow in subsequent days. The employment report comes out tomorrow morning. Tends to be a market mover. Can render any analysis tonight nugatory. As I record this, futures are down 65 handles. Reports of smoke from a Ukrainian nuclear power plant. Whether or not this is verified may affect the open in ways I can't predict. I don't know what the employment report's going to be. I don't know if this report's true or not. And I don't try to predict what happens overnight. The volatility index has given a Bollinger Band reversal and buy signal, and assets and RIDEX bear funds have had a huge spike. They're not precise timing indicators, but they suggest a low is near. The recent consolidation is a 50% retrace of the last rally, and today's weak action couldn't close under recent lows. There's a wave count compatible with the rally right from the open tomorrow if we don't trade under today's close. Now, it seems kind of silly to talk about a huge rally when futures are down this much, but you never know what's going to happen. And if we don't hold this low, if we do open down, just forget all this business. I don't usually try to predict what happens when big economic reports come out. But if this all gets reversed by tomorrow, could be a strong rally in spite of all this negativity overnight. I'm going to try to post once again the explanation of how come we reversed from today's gap up. Normally only subscribers to If Then Market Timing Service get this information, but Mr. David's agreed to reveal the pattern to the viewers of this channel, and this pattern is pure gold. I'll try to post a link. If I can't do it now, my son's going to help me post it later, but if you can't wait, here's the link. Tomorrow's the pattern with the early low. Futures are way down, but if somehow we recover, not saying we will, but if we do, everything is pointing to a good rally. And if that does not happen, then there's no call, other than that 43.2369 ultimately should print. And that is the call for today.